Greetings. Diawi, Ohani Washte, all relations, all relatives. This glorious gift of this day as we've drawn the liquid breath of life in our waking moments. I am Choctaw Muskogee Yamassee. I am spiritual elder of my people and chief. And I am called the Eagle Warrior, as well as by a beautiful elder from Guatemala who spoke of me when we met a few years ago and looked upon me in my regalia. And in the Spanish language said, "Tú eres el aguilar y el cóndor de profecía. You are the prophecy of the eagle and condor." I was humbled by what it is that she saw. But in this place of beginnings for today with you, what a blessing, a humble blessing to be in your essence of the sacredness of the waters within you as within me. Join me again for another journey as we go through this day in our experiment with the sacred waters that we are sharing our essence and energy with. In the journey that I have begun with you, and for those of you who have followed, I have come from a place as a fire keeper, as a fire carrier, to a place of the sacred waters within me that have come to a beautiful place of balance. And I start the energy and the journey today with you, if you will, as we've always started our ceremonies here, the sacred fire. Light and come to the consciousness of the sacred fire within you, the eternal now. Draw that breath of fire within as it uses itself to come to this place. And it comes in a joining of the sacred elements as part of the opening that we do today in our ceremony. Is in some places they say, take a breath with me. As an elder and a grandfather, I say, take a drink with me from that water that you keep by you. To nourish the thirst of your day. Take a drink with me and hold that special consciousness within you. Hold that here. And in that consciousness between the mind and the heart and the heart and the mind, join in the oneness with me, all that we are. The sacred waters that lie within us. My global family joins and we become the one mind. As Hekapa Sapa Black Elk spoke. Become the one mind and call in the sacred. Oh. And in this we will take our drink and then we will join and become the journey of this story. Oh God. Take a drink with me. We are now one. Move past the limitations of the linear mind and move from the consciousness that we have joined together into the multiverse of the multidimensional and realm of the oneness of the singular cell of water that flows within us. Take this journey today with me, this elder journey. The journey today takes me to a place that is in all of the ceremonies that I have been invited to. I've been honored and very blessed to participate in. I've always been around the sacred fire, grandmother, grandfather fire. I introduced myself, put some tobacco to acknowledge and introduce myself to the sacred element of the great fire. Today, the journey has then moved me from the equinox, moving forward, that water has spoken. We've all heard that little voice from within, and we say, what is that little voice? But it guides us and counsels us. Like in a prayer one that I have done in the years past, voice said, go within or go without. And I was like, whoa, where did that come from? As I've come to the teachings of Dr. Emoto, and for all those that pay attention to begin to listen to the waters within us, I have realized there was Creator in the most beautiful, loving way, spoke with me and gave me this teaching. The waters and Creator are one, as we are. I am. As you are, we are. Am. In this place, I have learned now that in the place of ceremony, I have been told it is now time to move for those of us into the journeys of the water ceremonies. As you see here, a circle of life, the four directions, or the four colors of man. It now says, take this fire and move it to the sacred waters. Now become the one, the holy of the waters of oneness. These will change colors, as you will see as you follow me in the journeys in another time and another place, but it will still be the same form. The water container, they call this elder, Daniel. And in that, I have been told by these waters that it is in this oneness that we come to the consciousness of raising the frequency as we are the waters rising. It will come to that time that I've been told that the lodges, the sun dances, the ceremonies will no longer be primarily elemental in the fire. There's now time to move them into the waters. How do we do that? First of all, the medicine wheel, as it is called, and what I've been told, given to me in a dream by Creator, said, this is your work, learn it and help the people. I'm now being told the Creator is saying, move it into the mother of the womb of life that lies within you. Go to the waters for your dances now. Live in the oneness of all life around you. It is now the losing of the self into allness or nothingness. The listening to the water songs, singing the water songs, taking my breath and my feet and my hands and bathing myself in the oneness of all creation, of Creator's blessings, the robe of the sacred life of water that now encompasses me. In our culture here on Turtle Island, Anahuac, united all peoples, in the Sundance that I have been given, the tree of life has spoken to me and said, no more sacrificing a life for your dance. Now take the dance and move it to the water. Give life back in your prayer. And so I have experienced the teaching from the sacred tree of life, whose roots go deep into Mother Earth and bring forward this essence of the boughs that prayerfully lift up the sky. In the prayerful place, forgive the unforgivable. Let the waters wash you free from all of the anger that lies within you, all of the intergenerational trauma that clings to your DNA. Let the holy sacred waters wash you into the freedom of bringing forward all the unity of men. That we can forgive one another of all the unforgivable things that we have done to each other. As people, as families, as communities, as nations, as cultures. It is time the waters are speaking with the power that lies within us to rise ourselves beyond our humanity into our divinity of what Creator has given us in the seen form of the waters. The story came to me just in the last 24 hours as I continued to see the beautiful snowflakes that are falling in different parts of the world still. That the minuteness of each flake from the beginning of beyond time have all been different. That Dr. Emoto has brought forward in the teachings of the molecules of water that have been given the energy of love or anger to demonstrate our relationship with Creator, that we are one, has spoken and said, imagine that every molecule of water within you, Daniel, elder, child, every single molecule was a snowflake at one time. And you are filled with the billions and trillions of snowflakes that are now the water molecules that have flowed in and out of you and have become the snowflakes of another time in another place, so that the snow, fire continues to flow in and outside of you. Are you listening to the love I am bringing? Are you listening to the prayers that are in the waters that have gone from the sky people to the earth people and into the tributaries and the streams of who it is that you are, and the four quadrants and the chambers of this sacred place we call the eternal now, the heart realm, from all the four directions and the sacredness of all the snowflakes going in and out and flowing through who you are and what you've become, in the free will of surrendering to the willingness and the power of water, of the sacredness of Alt in the ancient language of this Western Hemisphere, Alt in the Nahuatl language, the holy people. We are the all ofness in this wondrous, beautiful place. I share a story with you of the dance that I was in out in South Dakota. And as I came to the place where the sacred tree, the cottonwood tree, was being taken to make the sacrifice for our prayer of 4 days. And in that very beginning, I introduced myself to the sacred tree in the forest. And I listened to the tree people who were looking upon this powerful giant cottonwood and were saying, no, not this one. He is our pride. He is our joy. He is the love of all things. And in this dance, this place I was in, I'm listening as all the water around me is speaking in the unseen, and the forest speaking, not this one. And the ceremony of the axe taking place, listening. No, not now, not anymore. And we had the hardest time bringing this sacred tree of life to the circle. It took us hours. It usually doesn't in my past experience. And what I listened to was the waters were reaching out from the community of roots to all of the people in the forest to say, come, it is time to bid farewell to the pride and joy of our nation here. And so the squirrels came. I saw the squirrels coming, climbing. I saw the blue jays coming. I saw the raven nations and the crow nations and the sparrow nations all coming, swarming around into the boughs of this beautiful tree that was being taken for the prayer. And they were all making their goodbyes. And the long time that was coming is because the bird nation was coming from a long ways away and was wheeling into this place. And we carried this sacred tree of life into the arena. And in the dance and in the prayers that we were making for all living things and all breathing beings, I heard, I am thirsty. I need water. And we shared, and I'm dancing as a humble guest in this dance, saying, I'm hearing you. Why is no one bringing you water? I'm a guest here. And in the last days, the tree spoke again to me as I went to the tree crying, my prayers broken. And the tree said, bring me water. I am thirsty. And in that time, as the feast took place and everyone else was in that place, I left that time with everyone else. But the first thing I did was to find a bucket, a 5-gallon bucket to fill with water. Something within me moved so powerfully. And I brought that bucket of water and I poured it into the circle where this beautiful elder who was leaving us, who had been given the farewells and was holding all the prayers with the prayer ties. And I poured water all around. And I knelt at its base and I put my head against it and I gave it this beautiful hug. And I said, here I am. Here is the water you've asked for. And I cried. I cried the rivers that lie within me to give it also the life that was within me to bring back. Come back to us. We need you. And the tree spoke and said, thank you. Thank you. And I got up to take my leave. And the tree said, hold on, elder. We have a request. And I stayed on my knees and I opened my arms and I said, what is it? I brought you water. And the tree spoke and said, that was a test. We needed to know that you were listening. All those around here, all the trees, we were all speaking of you. You were listening and you brought the water as I asked. So what else is it that you would have me do? It is now time to let you know. It is now to say this ceremony, this tradition of hundreds, if not thousands of years must change. I am not here to disrespect nor offend or to step across any lines on any toes of those who hold this sacred way of doing prayer. But the tree, the sacred one, spoke and said, this is no longer. What you and outside of this circle, the two-legged have done across Mother, have taken thousands of acres and hectares of all of us and have cleared us for your needs. We are diminishing at a rate that the oxygen we give you closer than we are blood relatives for you. We're diminishing. What will you do when we can no longer produce all the oxygen with all of our relatives here for you? And you can no longer provide the carbon dioxide that we need in the exchange. I was aware of what is happening in our world today. Much changed from the hundreds of years ago when the Tree Nation, the Standing Tall people, were everywhere. The tree spoke and said, this now, take this prayer ceremony and bring it to the water. Come to the water time. And so I did. I carried this prayer back home to Cottonwood, Arizona, and in the Verde River, 10 minutes from my house. I took my music, my drum, my rattle, my dance regalia, and I stepped into the sacred Verde River. And for the 4 days of ceremony that I did upon the land, I danced. I danced in the sacred waters, looking upon the trees of life who were there with me, honoring this prayer, that I was not taking a life for my prayer in the old way. But I was told then, in this old, new way, we are now to dance with the living tree to make our prayer. And I have since then done so. I have been to the sacred dance where the living tree lives without taking its life for the prayer. And I have learned, as I was told, that this has also come to others. There is a living tree dance in South Dakota by the Native American Church. There's a living tree dance in Colorado, in another place held by a sacred circle. Relatives, I am but a child, still learning the lessons, but I ask from the withinness, it is now time to dance in the water, to sing, to play, to laugh, to bring the joy of life. And for any time that the sacred fires are taking those that have crossed over, it is now time that when the dances come, it is time to dance. If you're going to take a tree, the teaching from the tree people says, if you take a tree for your fire, for your lodges, plant the trees. If you take a tree for the sacrifice of your prayer, plant a tree. Let the waters of the tree of life, the global essence of the river, look above you and see the ocean that flies around the world. See the ocean that lies in the sky world, that speaks to the ocean in our world. And we are in between, the sacred, humble vessels of clay holding the waters of life. Flow, know, and glow with me. Drink from the lap cup, love, unity, and peace. Be well, relatives. Ohani washte, ohani washte. To all our ancestors who have gone before us, to all the ancestors that flow within us, speak with the waters and listen to the teaching. It is time to come to the sacred waters within. When was the last time you stepped into your own waters with love, compassion, gentleness, and the tenderness of life? Embrace who you are. True. Pokahai, Pokahe, Blamia, Shona Bish, Tasakamatli, Manipani, Aho, Atakiasa.